So I wanted to do a follow-up video to my original genre Parfums video. Really, I just wanted to cover my first order from the House of Genre. Main reason being, one, obviously to go over more of their offerings, but also I think the first order for me was an order that I was just completely satisfied with. Not that I wasn't the second order, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have tried the actual real uh, versions to the inspired by versions of those fragrances. And given that I knew I already liked those, I also had a lot more time to wear them. So I think the feedback that I'll be able to give will be more helpful than the second order, where for me it was, uh, for the most part, my first time smelling any of them. So I don't know how close they were to the real thing. I don't know if really if it was just I didn't like that scent, original or inspired by, or if it was perhaps the clone wasn't as good as the real deal, with the exception of the side effect, which was the only one by Initio that I had tried. Anyway, I'm going to keep this much more brief than my last video. I know that went a lot longer, so let's just dive into it. First one on the original order is Refuge, and I did do a video where this was in when I compared all the Clone House's versions of Leighton, which is what this is, Perfume de Marly's Leighton. This is genres inspired by a version of that. This came out second, in my opinion, of all the Clone Houses that I've tried. First would be Alexandria Fragrances. I reviewed that as well in that video, which was their Royal Equestrian. And the reason I say second is just purely based on scent. Taking cost into account, this is actually would be my number one. It's very close to the Alexandria's. It's about half the price though. It's $25 for 30 ml compared to $42.99 for the 30 ml of Royal Equestrian. Now that aside, the Royal Equestrian I feel like performs slightly better. It's more methylated, which I like in the opening. It reminds me more of the real Leighton. And the dry down just seems a lot more just better, quite frankly. You can smell the notes a lot better. The Refuge dries down more harsh. It's not as the citrus and the vanilla. The Leighton's more inviting, spicy. You get that really seductive vanilla in the dry down. The Refuge just kind of loses some of that in the dry down. So anyway, it's not a bad clone. It's fantastic. Like I said, it's second only to Alexandria as far as the ones that I have tried. Certainly for $25, it's worth the money. But if you do have the extra coin and it's not a big deal, I would go with Alexandria's Royal Equestrian. That being said, I will be ordering another bottle of this. Like I said, I'm happy with it. For the price, you really can't go wrong. It smells the second closest to the real deal that I've had. It does take a little bit of a turn on the dry down, but it's not bad. It's still a great fragrance on its own. It just differs slightly. The next one I'm going to review is Utopia, which is genre's version, inspired by version of Roja Dove's Elysium. And I'm sure many of you know, that is one of the best-selling men's fragrances. A lot of people compare it to Aventus. I don't see that comparison at all. I know they both do have blackcurrant. They both have citruses. To me, that is essentially where the comparison ends. Aventus has that smoky vanilla factor into it, which really draws you in. The pineapple really hits home. This is a much more brighter citrus, and to some extent lighter fragrance. It's great in warm weather, especially really hot weather. It's going to perform very well in that weather. It's also going to, it won't have the, not that Aventus does, but the kind of overpowering effect that a lot of other fragrances do have. It certainly is a lot lighter than, like I said, Aventus, but it still smells absolutely wonderful. Again, the citrus notes, And I will say, comparing Utopia to Zion, which is Alexandria Fragrances version, which is also very close. I'd say they're both extremely similar to Roja Dove, Elysium. They do differ from each other, and given that slightly from Roja Dove, I will say Zion to me, just like Royal Equestrian, is closer to the real Elysium. I feel like Utopia has a lot more vetiver in it. And not that it's bad, again. It smells fantastic. They both smell really good. It just stands out more in that fragrance. So I like them both. I don't know that I really prefer Zion over Utopia. Honestly, I think Utopia probably performs slightly better than Zion. It lasts on me a little longer, especially in high heat. It's just different. So if you're looking for something that is closer to the actual Roja Dove Elysium, Zion is it. But again, it's twice as much and for the same size. And this, like I said, does not smell worse by any means. It smells great. It just isn't as close to the real one. So anyway, again, similar to Refuge, I will be getting another bottle of Utopia. The next one on the list is Noble Soul by Genre Pafums. This is their interpretation of Killian's Black Phantom. For those of you that don't know, that is a gourmand fragrance. It has dark chocolate, it has caramel, it has rum, sugar, various other notes, but that's really it. The main things you smell out of it's the dark chocolate, the booziness from the rum, and the caramel. You know, it's obviously sweet, so I guess the sugar as well. But anyway, I really enjoy Black Phantom. I also have Alexandria's version of that, which is Dark Knight. Now, again, they're both very close to the real deal. They do differ from each other, though. And this is, once again, I would say Alexandria's is slightly closer to the real one. They both smell fine. They both smell good. The dry downs are very similar. The openings do differ more than the dry down. And I would say the opening of Dark Knight, in my opinion, is better. It's closer to really, Killian's than Noble Soul. Noble Soul, the opening loses some of the booziness. You smell the dark chocolate, you smell the caramel, but the rum is kind of toned down. And to me, that rum note is what I love about Black Phantom. It draws you in, just smells boozy, and it makes it super unique. Again, dry down is very similar between the two. So if you don't care about the opening being slightly different, they are very close. Both of them are very close to Killian's Black Phantom. That aside, if opening is something that you're concerned about, once again, nothing against genre. I love the house, but I do think Alexandria's is closer to the real deal. And in my opinion, it is better. Now, is it worth paying twice as much for it? Probably not. That's going to be obviously up to the person purchasing it, whether or not they care about the opening that much. And there is a slight difference in the dry down still. It does still lose some of the busyness in genres compared to Dark Knight or Killian's Black Phantom. Now, I will say both perform better than Killian's, in my opinion. Killian's, the real deal, doesn't last as long on me, just like Elysium doesn't last as long as Utopia. So performance is definitely better on these. Next up is Peaceful Night, and this is genre's version of Bond Number 9, Scented Peaceful Hymn. I love this scent. This is it's very close to the real deal. I'll say that. This is probably one of the closer ones. It performs very well. I mean, you can smell this the next day. Spray it on clothes, easy. Won't have a problem with performance on the skin either. It'll last 8-9 hours. This scent in general, it's a spicy, masculine scent, safe for the office, safe for everyday wear. It could be a signature scent. It is not overpowering by any means. It is unique. It draws you in. It's spicy, like I said, but also kind of has like a sharpness to it, but in a good way. It's not going to be off-putting to really anybody. I can't see anybody not really liking this. This has been a good compliment getter for me, and I imagine it will be for many other people. Some people, once again, compare this to Aventus. No idea why. It smells nothing like Aventus, nor does, to me, Elysium smell anything like Aventus. I mean, other than their masculine fragrances, they smell what, a lot of people attribute to being masculine. This definitely has that. It's also, all of these could be worn as signature scents. They're all safe to wear, really in any occasion. Elysium, I probably wouldn't wear, in the winter as much because it is very citrusy. It's better in warm weather, but regardless, you still could if you wanted to. None of them are going to offend anybody. With that said, this is one of my favorite offerings from the house, if not my favorite. Refuge and Utopia, all of those are in line with this. Definitely pick that up if you're doing an order from genre. Last one on the list, I did cover this last time. The first review I did of this house is Pendulum. This is, smells so good. This is their genre's interpretation of initio side effects. Again, I've covered this in the last video for those people who enjoy tobacco fragrances. This is amazing. To me, it's again one of my favorite from the house. It smells very close to the real deal. It's got tobacco in it. You can smell it. It's got booziness from the rum, vanilla. It's amazing. It's inviting. It's got cinnamon in it too. It's a very simple fragrance, but yet smells very sophisticated. So there's only a handful of notes in here. I think 4 or 5. And this is again something I would wear date night or cool weather. This is not something I would wear in the high heat. It's gonna project like no other in the high heat, and it's gonna be overwhelming for a lot of people. But it is one of my favorites from the house. So I do think, having everything I have tried, I would say my favorites from the house would be Refuge, pretty much this line: Refuge, Peaceful Night, Noble Soul, Pendulum, Utopia, with the addition of Hypnosis, which I got on the other order. That is Mancera, Roses Vanilla, and then Rose Awakening was also really good. That's yours, and Renew It. And then, what was the, Ancient Islands, Zerjoff, Naxos. All of those are great. In my opinion, safe blind buys. The rest I was not as impressed with. And again, I can't comment on the second order a whole lot because I don't know what the originals smell like. Whereas these, I've tried them all, and I can give a lot better feedback. They smell, I knew kind of what I was ordering, what I expected. They met that expectation for sure. I was very impressed by that. The other ones, I don't know. They could smell nothing like the originals. They could smell just like the originals. It's just something I don't prefer. So take it for what it is. Yeah, that's that. But these are all fantastic fragrances. Again, for the money, you're paying $25. Free shipping, 30 mil, great atomizers. You saw the new atomizers. Again, my old video, I compared them. The old ones were kind of cooler because they had the name and the logo on there. These are more generic, the caps at least. But the spray, very light on that one. It smells good though. It's gonna smell gross because I'm gonna mix them. But then here's the new one. Look at that cloud. Huge. Oh, it smells good. Huge upgrade. Atomizers are great. Bottles look cool. Logo's cool. Juice is great. Honestly, genre is a fantastic house. And again, for the money, I think they are the best cologne house. Hands down. For the money. Now, quality, purely quality, Alexandria takes it for me. If money's not an issue. But at some point, you got to ask yourself when buying clones, if you're paying more for a clone than the real thing per milliliter, why are you doing it? And some of these better clone houses, that is the case. Now, there is, I guess, an argument to be had that at least you don't have to buy the full-size bottle. You don't have the option of buying that. With a lot of these, you have to buy a 3.4 ounce or whatever it is. But you kind of do because you can get decants from people. But there's also another argument. Sometimes the clone houses perform way better. Dua Fragrances, everybody knows Dua performs fantastic. Same with Alexandria. So maybe you do like the original fragrance. Maybe you're willing to pay the same amount for a clone that is going to project and perform significantly better than the real deal. So, I mean, it's all individual preference. Get what you want and try it. I personally, though, I would not hesitate to order from Genre. The owner is fantastic. Devin is a great guy. He's doing what he can. He's constantly improving the company. Like I said, everything I've tried that I've tested the originals of, blown away by how good they smell, how close they are to the originals. Quality for the money is unmatched. So anyway, that's that. I will be ordering from them again, so expect more videos and reviews from them in the future.